All right, everybody, welcome back to the third episode of Prospecting 411 Podcast. Today, we're going to be doing our mock draft 3.0. I'm your host, JB Spastiano, along with our co-host, Cam Freeman. And we're about to get started here. So pick number one with the Pirates. We've had the same guy going in every mock draft. This week, for me at least, it's switching up. I have Wyatt Langford, the outfielder out of Florida, going number one. This time, I believe that they're going to go under slot, so I think Langford really fits. Coming off of a strong finish to his College World Series, I think Langford's going to be the guy.
Yeah, I'm also switching it up. The rumors with Dylan Cruz not wanting to sign and everything, and wanting a lot of money, essentially their whole entire draft pool money is what he wants. I think they're going to switch it up too. I have him also going under slot with a different outfielder. My least favorite prospect in the draft, Max Clark, number one overall to the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Clark has been
Henry Davis, kind of like that surprise, like whoa, like
yeah,
that one kind of came out of nowhere. So I've got him doing it again this year with Max Clark.
Yeah, Clark, I agree with that. A lot of people have been talking about how he will take a good chunk of change off to go number one. So Clark's a good spot there. Number two at the Nationals, staying with the same guy I've had the whole time. Strongest link if he gets there. It's almost a lock that he goes there. Paul Skeens, the right-handed pitcher out of LSU. An amazing College World Series performance. Really carry that team on their back, on his back at times. 102-mile-an-hour fastball, running up. That was his top, sitting around 97 to 99 to 100. He's got a lot of great things that you could see in the big leagues right now. Probably will start in Double-A. He's a really impressive pitcher. What you got, Kim?
Yeah, same thing you said. Had a dominant performance. I think a little bit overhyped in my opinion, but he's got the stuff like you said. I think at least he starts in high A at the very least, if not Double-A, kind of like a Jack Leiter situation almost in my opinion.
Yeah.
Really, I've said it a couple times before, kind of Steven Strasburg comparison almost coming out of college, big prospect guy, fits with the Nationals. I think that they've kind of put their eyes on him because it's been so long that they're like, okay, Washington's getting Paul Skeens. So I don't think they're going to switch it up at this point now.
Number three, I have the Tigers taking Dylan Cruz. It's been rumored that they really, really want Cruz. They will go the extra mile to get him. I think that it's a great steal for the Tigers. They can get him at 3, a guy that they probably would have never imagined could get to them if he does get there. An amazing athlete, as we've talked about, a great defender, plus runner, has all the hit tools that you could want in the world, showed the power. He's the most accomplished player in college baseball right now. So, there's nobody that you could really ask. You can ask for anything better than Dylan Cruz for them.
Yeah. I got the same. Dylan Cruz at 3. I think Detroit's the team that will give him all that money that he is wanting. Honestly, in my opinion, he's the best player in this draft, and it's not close. Mm-hmm. So, absolute slam dunk pick for Detroit there at 3. And I've said it a couple times. I'm not sure how his glove's going to end up playing in center field by the time he gets to the bigs. So I think this would be a good pickup for them to put alongside in one of the corners with Riley Green for the future.
Yeah, so I think I agree with that. Great player. Number 4 with the Rangers, Walker Jenkins, high school outfielders, who I have going here. It's really a coin flip between him and Max Clark is what we hear at this point. But a lot of people think Walker Jenkins is the slam dunk pick if he's there. A big physical kid out of high school, a lot of power, a lot of stuff to dream on with him. And he is overall a decently polished player there. So I think Walker Jenkins is the guy here at 4 to the Rangers.
Yeah. In your situation with how your board has fallen, I completely agree with that. But with how mine's fallen, Wyatt Langford falls right into Texas's hand here at 4. My personal second favorite player in this, top tier players in this draft class, really 5-tool guy out of Florida. You have him going number 1 overall. If that says anything for him to fall to 4, you got to take him.
Yeah.
I see a lot of George Springer in Wyatt Langford. It's kind of like the 5-tool center fielder. So I think it's a really, really big slam dunk for Texas there at 4 with Wyatt Langford.
A lot of power potential, quick twitchy bat. Love to see a guy like that at number 4 if you can get him. Number 5 with the Twins, A lot of people say that the choice that makes the most sense is the guy who's ever left out of the top five is the guy that goes here. I'm going another route because a lot of people think they favor collegiate bats. I'm going Kyle Teal out of Virginia, the catcher. I think Teal as a catcher is sort of a work in progress ish. He's very athletic behind the dish, a solid receiver, but there's some things that he could clean up and tweak a little bit. The bat is fairly advanced there. He struggled against high velocity pitching, but I think the bat should play for the Twins, and I think it favors what they like. They could use a nice catching piece in the system, add on to some depth there, and just help them overall in the future with building their plan that they have.
Yeah, I think Conte could work out for them well. I mean, off the top of my head, not a whole lot of catching depth in their farm system that I can recall. So I mean, I think it could make sense. My pick here is Walker Jenkins just because he's fell to him, and again, I think Walker Jenkins is a top 5 player in this draft. I don't see why they wouldn't do it. Their outfield has kind of started to regress almost.
Yeah.
You're not seeing, the crazy high prospect out of, Alex Kirilloff or Trevor Lornack that they were hoping. Max Kepler's starting to digress a little bit, and
Yeah.
Byron Buxton can't stay healthy.
Yeah.
An outfield I think is of need for Minnesota, not only in the bigs, but with him being a high school, in their farm system too. So I think makes too much sense here since they like their, hit tool guys, and Walker Jenkins has a really high hit tool.
Yep. Number 6 with the Oakland A's, I have Max Clark going here. Clark, the A's and Reds really have dreamed about having a chance to pick him. Both teams have said they will go over slot for Clark if they can get to him. Clark, a guy that's really, there's a lot of stuff to dream on with him. Athletic, he's got some power potential, showed feel for the barrel with the bat. He's a good runner. I mean, there's everything there, but there's little things that can concern you at times, especially with him and his head and the social media presence and the off the field stuff. Some of the stuff that turns some teams away, but Max Clark on the field has been a solid performer, and I think the A's get a solid pick here.
At 6, I have this is probably my biggest riser from our first mock draft to now. I have Oakland selecting Arjun Namala, the shortstop, high schooler shortstop out of, I always forget, it's Florida, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So really high draft riser, in my opinion, not only from my perspective, from like really everywhere. If you look, you're seeing him in the top 8 more and more and more. I've seen this pick a couple times looking at mock drafts. I kind of relate Arjun's game to CJ Abrams, prospect CJ Abrams. He hasn't really panned out now, but I think Oakland could make a slam dunk with picking Arjun Namala here at 6.
Yeah. At number 7, we have the Reds. I have them taking Rhett Lauder, the Wake Forest right-handed pitcher, the guy who dueled with Paul Skeens in that electric game to go to the College World Series. I think Skeens and Lauder in that game really showed the differences that they have. Skeens more of a power pitcher with a lot of power stuff there. Lauder more pitchability there. He has some power stuff, not the same as Skeens, but he's got a lot more pitchability. He knows how to be really crafty, a plus changeup. Is a guy that's going to help out the Reds since they've had some issues developing pitching. They're starting to get some guys coming through, but this could really help them out, especially with a team that's kind of in contention right now if they want to make a push.
Yeah. I have the same pick. I've said it a lot, and I'll say it again. I like Rhett Lauder a lot more than I like Chase Dolander. And I think it is definitely the right pick for Cincinnati. And you said it perfect. They've had trouble, getting their pitchers to progress the way they want them to. And I think this is borderline the perfect pick here for Cincinnati at 7.
Yep. And number 8 with the Royals, I have them going high school right-handed pitcher Noble Meyer, a guy that really has been kind of an outlier in most draft boards. You see him going as high as number 5 to the Twins. That's been rumored. You see him going in the middle of the first round, some places on the low end. He's a guy that as the top high school arm is going to have a lot of traction, and there is going to be a team that I think that will take him from the simple fact that he probably will go a little under slot possibly, or at least going to be right at slot. I think he's a guy that there's a lot of stuff to dream on with a power arm out of high school. So I think the Royals, they have a history of that. I think they go back to that here.
Yeah. I'm big on this pick. I think I had it my first and second mock draft, and if I didn't, then I still love it. Kyle Teal at 8, Kansas City. Who better to learn behind than Salvador Perez? especially with Kyle Teal, where he kind of has a little bit of Salvador Perez like tendencies. You know, he's got a good glove, he's got a good bat. I think it's a perfect pick for Kansas City at 8, honestly.
Number 9 with the Rockies. A lot of people have them going pitching here. A lot of people like Dolander in this spot. I have them taking a prep lefty, Thomas White. White, another guy that's kind of everywhere on the draft boards. You see him in the top 10 sometimes. You see him as far back as in the late 20s. Kind of a guy that's a little bit of an outlier due to him having some control issues, but there's a lot of big stuff there. I think the Rockies, playing in cores especially, want to dream on that big stuff and the projectability with him. So I think they go Thomas White here.
Yeah. I also have Colorado going with a prep arm. However, it's Noble Meyer. I do think he is the top prep arm. Not by far, but I do think he is the best one. So Colorado just gets their choice of, you know, a couple of different pitchers, prep and college, including. He gets a pitcher there at 9 for Colorado, and I haven't taken the best available.
Number 10 with the Marlins, I have them taking Braden Taylor, a guy who really shot up his draft stock in the postseason with the College World Series and everything going on there. Helped TCU make a nice little run. I think the Marlins, they go back to trying to get more advanced hitters out of college as they've struggled to get some guys going there, and they really need to create some offense with this team as the pitching staff has had to carry them over and over and over again, year in and year out with a bottom 5 offense. I think Braden Taylor is one of the guys that could come up quickly through a system and help them soon enough. So I think they go Braden Taylor.
Yeah. I actually really like that pick now that I'm thinking about it. I didn't really think about it when doing mine. I have Miami going Chase Dolander here, pick right after Colorado's. I just think that they could use one more arm, and I think Dolander has a chance to be able to develop quicker than, you know, all the high school guys. I think it would work out well for Miami. I think this is a good spot for him to go here at 10.
Mm-hmm. Number 11 with the Angels, I got the Angels taking the Tennessee ready, like you said, Chase Dolander. He's a guy that most teams, after a really bad performance this year, are really dreaming on the stuff that he has, because he does still have that elite stuff, but there's been some tendencies with him that have kind of flipped around this year due to some command issues, higher, you know, batting average on breaking balls and fastballs this year, kind of up all around due to not as many strikes being there. So hitters could be a little bit more selective on what they're going for. But I do think the Angels go Dolander here and dream on the stuff that they have.
Yeah. I wish I could like show you all my paper. I actually had Chase Dolander going here originally, and you can literally see where I had wrote his name and just drew a line through it. I now have the Angels going with Enrique Bradfield here at 11. I'm not that high on Enrique Bradfield. However, I've seen a ton of drafts that have this as the pick. I think it's definitely a possibility, and that's why I went with it. I think outfield is of use for the Angels. I mean, obviously, Joe Adell isn't well, I'm not gonna say would never, you know, be anything in the majors, but he's definitely looking like a quad A guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Mike Trout is starting to age out of that center field role. We're seeing him get hurt more. He just went on the IL yesterday.
Yeah.
So I think Enrique Bradfield is a good that if his bat really pops off. I think we discussed this in one of our recent mock drafts. Like if his bat pops off, man, he'll be a great leadoff hitter. Great defense in center field. You know you're going to get the speed in the defense. It's just what will the bat do? I see a lot of Billy Hamilton and Enrique Bradfield, which I know people might be like, oh, well, Billy Hamilton, you know, wasn't what he was supposed to be. But, yeah, Billy Hamilton was also, you know, starting center fielder for 4 to 5 years. You give yourself
is just the strikeout rate was really high. So Bradfield figures out how to control that and get on like you're talking about right now. I mean, Hamilton, he stole 50-something bags, and he only had an on-base percentage of 315, 320.
Yeah.
I mean, that's dangerous if you can get Bradfield to not strike out as much.
You can steal second and third. You can't steal first base.
Yep.
But, yeah, Enrique Bradfield.
That pick. Number 12 with the D-backs. This guy's been linked here for a long, long time. I think we've had him here almost every time I know for sure. Colin Houck, the high school infielder. One of the best prep hitters in the class. D-backs have fallen in love with him from everything that I've heard, and I don't think anything changes, so I got them taking Colin Houck.
Yeah, no changes for me on that one. Colin Houck at 12, Arizona. I see a lot of a former Diamondbacks draft pick in Dansby Swanson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's been a really, really solid performer on the solid summer circuit. Excuse me. So it's been big. Number 13 with the Cubs, I have the GCU infielder Jacob Wilson going here. I think that they're going to go with a college bat, trying to get somebody ready to go that can come and help them quickly in the big leagues, as they kind of are in limbo with the third base spot. I feel with Wisdom over there and Madrigal, I think it's a spot that's going to get replaced at some point. Wilson is kind of a bona fide Madrigal. He's got a little bit more power potential due to his long, lanky frame. If he fills out a little bit, they get him on a little bit of a weight game plan. He could add some power, I think.
Yeah, I also have Jacob Wilson going here. That's why I started laughing, because I was like, what are the odds? We got two of the same picks in a row there. I see a lot of current Cubs player, Nico Horner. A little bit more pop than Nico Horner, but I think very same. And what you're talking about third base is exactly what I was going to point out. I really can see Jacob Wilson moving over to third base, not sticking at shortstop. So I think that'd be the perfect pick for them. He can be on the fast track to the majors probably by next year.
Number 14 with the Red Sox, I have them going another prep infielder with Arjun Nimala here. I think that at this point at 14, it's really hard to pass up Nimala and the potential that he has, especially with how coveted he's been by a lot of other teams. I know there for sure will be somebody that will take him or one of the other prep infielders if they decide to move them to get another piece in the outfield or pitching or somewhere. But Namala is such an athletic kid. I think if they really wanted to keep him with the bat, they can move him, or they can move one of the other guys like Romero that has been injured, or Cutter Coffee. But I think Namala, it's too hard to pass him up here at 14.
Yeah, you know how I feel about it. I'm a Red Sox fan. I want a pitcher or an outfielder, preferably, but in your situation with how your board has fallen, I don't blame the pick. Like I said, when I took him at 6, I love Arjun Namala as a prospect. I have us taking Thomas White, the high school pitcher out of Massachusetts, which I think, fits perfectly with the storyline and everything. Really good prospect, left-handed pitcher out of high school. Went to IMG, I'm pretty sure, which is not in Massachusetts, but he is originally from Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
But I think really good pickup for Boston there at 14 with Thomas White.
Yep. Number 15, the White Sox, I have them taking the other top prep hitter, Aiden Miller. Miller got injured earlier on during the season, so didn't get to see as much of him as some of the scouts liked, but people had him in the top 10 earlier before the injury. I think the White Sox here take that potential and kind of run with it in sort of a Colson Montgomery manner. When they took Montgomery, dreaming on the potential that he has there. So that's what I get the White Sox doing.
Yeah, we've seen, like you said, Colson. Last year they took high schooler Noah Schultz in the first round. So I'm going to continue the high school route with Aiden Miller here at 15 for the White Sox. A lot of I've seen some comparisons bat wise to Matt Chapman. So potential there is definitely there. It's just, will the White Sox be able to develop him? We saw, 2 years ago, I think, or 3 years ago, they took Wes Kath out of high school, and his bat hasn't developed all the way. It's starting to get there better. We've seen him play a lot in person. The glove is not there at all, but if they can develop Aiden Miller, man, that'll be a great replacement for Yohan Makata.
Yeah, Miller, bat first infielder, going to be relegated to the corner, so I agree. Great replacement at third. Number 16 with the Giants, I have them staying in the Bay Area, taking the Stanford infielder Tommy Troy. Really got on a run in the playoffs there, as you saw in the regional. He went crazy for a bit, especially against Texas A&M, one of my sleeper teams I had. He kind of carried them over the top with them. I think Tommy Troy is a great fit with them and kind of what they like. They like those little scrappy players that can kind of do it all. Troy can play all over the diamond for them. He's played second, short, and third at Stanford. Could probably take a move to the outfield if it was really needed. The bat has been there, shown the ability to hit throughout college. I think he's a safe pick and a good player in the Cape Cod as well.
Yeah. I was mad at myself for how far I let Tommy Troy fall. He is my first round, which we'll get there. But here at 16, I have the Giants taking Jacob Gonzalez, shortstop out of Ole Miss. Just, a decent amount of pop in this bat, decent glove. I think it would work out for them in the long run for him to play shortstop. See a little bit of Willie Adames in him. And that's really all I can say about Jacob Gonzalez here at 16 of the Giants.
Yeah. Number 17 with the Orioles, I have another late season performer at Florida. Started off slow, but kind of got going in the College World Series. And Hurston Waldrop, the righty. I mean, he's got some really power stuff for strikeouts that they could fall in love with very easily. The Orioles now making such a push with this team. I think they're going to go more towards the college route as they're on track here. Holiday last year as a high school hitter was very advanced and is gone along. I think the most advanced guy that they could use here is going to be Waldrop, and I think that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, completely agree with everything you said. I also have Hurston Waldrop here at 17 of the Orioles. I think that, you look at their pitching rotation and it hasn't been really anything what it's supposed to be. It's the reason why they're losing games in the first place. If they had a decent pitching rotation, they probably have, top 3 record in the league currently.
Yeah, they could be a lot closer to the Rays, I think.
Yeah, but I think Hurston Waldrop's 100% the right pick here at 17 for the Orioles.
Number 18 with the Brewers, I have them going the Maryland shortstop Matt Shaw. Shaw this year really came on winning Big Ten Player of the Year, had a really solid season. Another guy kind of similar to Tommy Troy, got a little bit of power, can run a little bit, can play all over the diamond. He's kind of just a very versatile guy. He's not going to be somebody possibly to be a superstar, but he's going to be a very good regular for a team that gets him. So I think Matt Shaw, one of the more polished players. Brewers stick with college bats here.
Yeah. This is one of the picks that I don't think I've changed it since the first draft. And there's when you do these type of things, there's some picks that you just got to stick to it. And this is the one that I'm really sticking to it. I got Blake Mitchell, the high school catcher out of Texas, I'm pretty sure, going here at 18 to the Brewers. I see a lot of Sean Murphy and Blake Mitchell, and I think it'll be a slam dunk pick for them at 18, honestly.
Number 19 with the Rays, I have a late riser out of the draft combine now. That they've really fallen in love with his athleticism and raw power. It's Ty Pete, the high school shortstop. He's really come on with a big frame, a lot of athleticism, showed some raw power in batting practice there. Didn't get to see a lot of game action, but Ty Pete, I know, is a guy they've fallen in love with. The Rays love taking those high school guys that are a little bit out of the first round for some people and taking them a little under slot and developing them, such as in Xavier Isaac last year. So I got them going Ty Pete.
Yeah. I have the Rays switching it up. I think I feel like I've had them going like high school, bad or something, high school in general. Last couple drafts, I have them going Braden Taylor, third baseman out of TCU that you talked about. Really rose the stock there in the College World Series. And I think he's a great bat. I think that it is the type of player that if he gets to the Rays, I don't think they can pass up on him with his potential.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Number 20, the Blue Jays, I have them taking Jacob Gonzalez, the Ole Miss shortstop. Kind of a guy here I think just is a really advanced player that's kind of more polished than some of the other guys they have on the board. The other guy I could see them taking is possibly Nolan Shaniel, the guy at FAU, who I actually have going next to the Cardinals. But I think Gonzalez is going to be the pick here. They kind of like taking these infielders that kind of bounce around in the infield. I could see Gonzalez with his size moving to third. Potentially if something happens with Chapman there, because I don't think Gonzalez gets there super quickly. I think it's going to take him at least 2 years to get there. So I think Gonzalez will be a solid pick for them.
Yeah. Toronto at 20, I have them taking my probably favorite player in the whole entire draft, Chase Davis, outfielder at Arizona. Really fallen in love with his game. A lot of Carlos Gonzalez in it, especially in that swing. I think he's a great player. I think he could probably end up being the steal of the draft, especially here at 20 for Toronto, who, in general, within the next 2 years, could probably use another outfielder at some point.
Yeah, I agree. 21, I had Nolan Shaniel, like I said, at FAU, guy that really came on with a huge season. It's completely a bat first player. Defensively, it's going to be, they're going to find out where they're going to play him. A DH first baseman, possible corner outfield is a stretch, but I mean, it could happen. But the bat is really what you're sold on here with Nolan Shaniel.
Yeah. Here at 21, I have St. Louis taking Bryce Eldridge, the two-way player out of James Madison High School. I think that with what is currently going on in their organization, I think that they have to take the most potential probably left on the board, and I think potential-wise, Bryce Eldridge has the most solely based off of his two-way availability.
Yeah.
So I think the Cardinals take the chance here on the two-way guy out of high school at 21.
Number 22, I have Eldridge going here to the Mariners. I think with their first pick out of 3 they have in the top 30, I think this is kind of a spot where they're going to either try to cut with an underslot deal at 22 and take 2 overslot guys in 29 and 30, or they go overslot at 22. I think Eldridge kind of fits in that category where they're going to want to sign him away and go a little overslot here. So I think they draft the potential of Eldridge.
Yeah. So I have Seattle at 22 taking Matt Shaw, the shortstop out of Maryland, which you just talked about. A lot of versatility with Shaw. He can bounce around. I love the comp that I made for Matt Shaw with Tommy Edman, where he can kind of play second, short, and the outfield. Kind of same bat wise and glove wise. There at 22 for the Mariners. I haven't taken Matt Shaw.
Yeah, I like that pick. Number 23, I have the Guardians going the high school infielder Colt Emerson. Guardians have been known for really loving their high school players. They like a lot of prep kids, and Colt Emerson has really picked up some steam, and I know that they have a lot of interest in him and the guy that I have going next, George Lombard. So I think it's Colt Emerson here.
Yeah. Fun fact, I guess we can knock 2 birds out in one stone here. I also have Colt Emerson here at 23 of the Guardians, and I do have George Lombard next to Atlanta at 24. I think both great picks for both teams. I did see where Cleveland had really fallen in love with Colt Emerson, so I think that's a perfect pick for them. And then George Lombard, kind of big potential with, I think it's bat, but
big frame, power potential with him.
I did see a fun fact though. I'm pretty sure George Lombard's dad was also drafted by the Atlanta Braves in I think it was either 80s or 90s.
That is interesting. That would definitely be a cool family affair, family story there if that happens.
Yeah.
Number 25, I have the Padres going best prepster still left, as they really like to dream on potential. I have them taking Blake Mitchell. I think it's hard for them to pass up a guy with his caliber and potential as a top 10 pick, even possibly at 25. I know the stigma with high school catchers is to stay away, really risky, don't usually work out. But I think Mitchell is hard to pass up here at 25.
Yeah. I have San Diego taking Nolan Shaniel out of FAU. I think there's a lot of I see Ryan Mountcastle on him, and I think that San Diego's been known to kind of take those college hitters, and I think they continue doing so. 25, Nolan Shaniel.
At number 26, I have the Yankees going same as I've been saying all along. Sammy Stafura, Clemson commit from the Bronx up north. He is a kid that has really come on late, a lot of power potential. People see Anthony Volpe in him, which I could see a little bit of that. But he has really flown up draft boards, and a lot of people liked him earlier in the spring, but kind of the mainstream media is catching on now as he's bounced up into the top 30-something prospects in the draft. So I have them sticking with Sammy Stafura here.
Yeah. I considered it. I know that's your boy. But I went with Dylan Head, the high school outfielder out of Illinois. Tons of speed. Almost like I hate to keep on comparing guys like this, but a lower end Corbin Carroll.
Yeah.
So I think it would be a really good pick for the Yankees there at 26.
Number 27, I have Chase Davis out of Arizona. Like you said earlier, a lot of cargo there. Huge power bat, and I do think he will be the steal of the draft. I just think he fits really well with the Phillies and what they want, so I think he can come up and help them right away.
Yeah. At 27, I had them taking Charlie Soto, the high school pitcher. See a lot of Hunter Green comparisons with Charlie Soto, and I agree with him.
At number 28, I have Yohani Morales, the Miami third baseman, a guy that came on really strong in the ACC tournament and then kind of slowed down in regional play. I still really like him. He's a very advanced college bat. It's 100% a third baseman. He's a corner infielder, but with a big bat. I think he plays for Houston.
Yeah. I had them taking also a college third baseman, but Brock Wilken instead of Yohandi. I think we've talked about Brock Wilken a lot. Cut the strikeout numbers down a lot and increased his walk rates. A lot of raw power there. Really good bat, decent glove. That I think could end up playing very well at third base in Houston.
So now we are getting into the competitive balance round. Now we are going to go all the way through to 39. I'm going to list off all my names, just list off my names real quick, and then Cam will do the same after I'm done. So 29, I have the Mariners taking high school shortstop Walker Martin. At number 30, I have the Mariners taking Charlie Soto, high school right-handed pitcher, which Cam just talked about. 31, I have the Rays taking Johnny Farmello, high school outfielder, another guy they've really fallen in love with recently. 32, I have the Mets taking Brock Wilken out of Wake Forest. 33, I have the Brewers taking Enrique Bradfield. Number 34, I have the Twins taking Jake Geloff out of Virginia. 35, I have the Marlins taking Joe Whitman, left-handed pitcher out of Kent State. Number 36, I have the Dodgers taking Travis Sakura, high school right-handed pitcher. 37, I have the Tigers taking Kevin McGonigal, high school shortstop. 38, I have the Reds taking Ralphie Velasquez, high school catcher, first baseman. And number 39, I have the A's taking Jack Hurley out of Virginia Tech.
Yeah. I think that's really funny. A lot of those picks that you just named, it was like almost flip-flopped. So I'll go through here. 29, I have Seattle or 29 and 30, Seattle. I have them going with two more college guys, Colton Ledbetter and Juwan Watts Brown. I think they might have to go a little bit over slot for Shaw at 22, so I think they make up for that with going under slot at 29 and 30 with an outfielder and pitcher, both, again, college players. At 31, I have Tampa Bay taking your boy that you had them taking at 19, Ty Pete, is how you say it, correct?
Yep, Ty Pete, yep.
High school shortstop. 32, I have it flipped how you had Houston taking Morales and the Mets taking Wilken. I have it flipped. I had Houston taking Wilken, and now I have the Mets taking Yohandy Morales, third baseman out of Miami. At 33, I have Milwaukee taking Tommy Troy. I see a lot of Jeff McNeil and Tommy Troy. I really like that pick for them at 33. 34, I have Minnesota taking Travis Sakura, the right-handed pitcher out of high school. Yeah. 35, this is one of those ones where it's flipped. I have Miami taking Jack Hurley, the outfielder out of Virginia Tech, which you had them taking Jake Geloff, and you'll see where I'm getting at with that one. 36, the Dodgers, I have them taking Kevin McGonigal, shortstop out of high school. 37, your boy Sammy Stafora, high school shortstop to Detroit. 38, same pick as you, Ralphie Velasquez, high school catcher / first baseman to Cincinnati. And at 39, where I was getting at a minute ago, I have Oakland taking Jake Geloff, where you had that flipped with Hurley and Geloff, like I have it flipped.
Yeah. Yeah, so that is what we have with this. We will have this all posted on the website soon enough. I'm going to try to put up some little player write-ups on a lot of these guys, so that will be on there with little blurbs on them. We will do a reaction to the draft on Monday, most likely, after the first round is done on Sunday. A little go over it, and then after the complete draft is over, we will do a little winners and losers, talk about that. That should really be what we have planned right now. That should be it. This will be our last mock that we run before the draft on Sunday. It should be really fun to see what happens. I know I'm really looking forward to it after all the stuff that we've put into researching this and kind of going through the mock draft. I'll be curious to see how our picks kind of line up from mock to mock with how it goes in the actual draft. But that is it. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. Please go check out the website and check out our little blurbs if you want to know a little bit more about these guys. And we will talk to you guys soon.